Welcome to Unmatched Real Talk. Today we have a great guest. Her name is Sofia Castillo. She's a seasoned property manager, a multifamily professional, drives operations, resident satisfaction, helps on-site teams, mentors, and great leadership. And thank you, Sofia, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to pursue your career in property management and what keeps you passionate within the industry.
That's a great question. It really brings me back to my roots. I actually coming from the hospitality industry. I was a cocktail waitress in the casino industry, and I was looking for a change in my life. So I didn't have no experience at all in an office, and I got the interview through a good friend of mine that he was a vendor. He used to clean the carpets inside the apartments for make readies.
Okay.
He told me about it. He was, Sophia, I think you will be a great person in the office. I think you will be a great addition there. And I was like, okay, I have never heard of such a position title as a leasing consultant. What is that? What do they do? And I interviewed for it. Although I didn't get the position as a leasing consultant, I got the position before being a leasing consultant, which was helping the office, the leasing consultant, the manager. At that moment, it was an open position for that. No, now nowadays it's that position doesn't exist anymore. Helping the office, printing the papers, getting the availability, listening to the messages, things like that. Now the leasing consultants does that. I was promoted after 3 months, and after that, I just took off in my career. What it keeps me in my position, what keeps me in the industry, is the fact that I am very grateful to the property manager, the regional manager who saw potential in me, who saw the attitude that I had at the moment. I was really eager to get that position. I really wanted to work in an office, although
Mhm.
I was not looking for a career because I didn't know nothing about leasing consultant or things like that. But I really wanted to be part of the team. And I am very grateful of that. So right now, I am in that position that I can give the opportunity to others. Right now, I feel like I'm in that position to see when somebody have the attitude to grow, the attitude that they want to try their best. And right now, I feel very blessed that I can do that.
And that's a great feedback and, amazing congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
accomplishments up to now, and upcoming as well, I'm sure. And to your point, that's a great value as a leader, how you're creating other leaders and how you're identifying, right, the potential of how one day your regional manager or, your hiring manager did for you and granted you that opportunity. At some point, I always say, yes, skill sets are so important. And it's so important to see the experience and to know someone's experience, obviously, depending on the executive role and what the role consists. But you can't really teach people skills and you can't really teach the attitude. And once you find that candidate who's ready to go, who's passionate, who's got that motivation to just go above and beyond,
Correct.
you know
Yes.
you found the right
I agree
candidate.
100%.
Yeah, so congratulations
Oh,
on
well,
that.
thank you.
So walk us through your typical day, although we all know that typical days in property management, we most of the time it's chaotic. We come in with a to-do list and we practically don't get to the to-do list.
Some, Sometimes I see myself like it's lunchtime and not even go through the whole list. I definitely started my day organizing how I'm expecting to go by. Like you're saying, sometimes it doesn't happen, but I like to have at least a plan of what I'm looking for. One of my main things is always to try to get together with my team. Either it's a formal meeting or just a 10 minutes meeting, one-on-ones, things like that. I like to catch up with each of them or as a group. That's very important for me. Besides that, I will check emails. I will walk the property, things like that. Definitely, I would prefer to have a very chaotic date versus a quiet day makes it faster, goes
Yep.
faster. But definitely, I feel like I can think faster as well when I'm going through, a lot of
A
challenges
lot of
and a
challenges.
lot of things sometimes. I get to wait. Why you couldn't like have time to do this and that? I've been pulling in different directions, and I love that. I
So
love that.
you work well under stress, and
I
that's
work
that's
perfectly.
amazing. So that's a great skill set right there. So how do you help your on-site teams understand the lease enforcements and compliance, and anything that has to do with compliance issues, not just on the lease, but obviously violation letters, communications, notices, to enter, 3-day notices, etc. How do you keep them, on their toes and make sure that they're aware of the do's and don'ts?
Yes, that's a good question. And we can see now that people are always looking for any opportunity to sue either the company, the office, the person. And I think we have to prevent ourselves to get into that position. We do have, and
Mhm.
like a phone call away, we can call our attorneys and they can guide us through it. But our team needs to know exactly what to do before even calling the attorneys, which is exactly what you're saying. Sending notices before entering the apartments, that's very important. Not too long ago, I had an experience that the resident gave us keys of
Okay,
the unit was empty. So without no notice, nothing we start showing the apartment. That cannot happen, things
right.
like that. It's very important to know the reason behind. I
Great
think
example.
by explaining the reason, it makes more sense to everybody to understand and to follow through. Because just by saying you don't have to do this is the procedure, but not understanding the reason why, it's kind of hard. Even I would like to know why
Yep.
of most of the things. So yes,
And to your point, knowing why, I always say, and this is a great point, Sophia. I think in property management or even in any other industry, when we expect our teams to achieve something, we need to also give them the why. We need to help them understand the why. And helping them understand the why, it's going to be a game changer for them. And we're going to really level, the level of them executing is going to be so much more. And they're going to be motivated along the way. Is it going to be
correct.
stressful and challenging? Yeah, sure. But they're going to love it. Kind of like what you said, right? You like
Yes.
wearing the different hats and you like it when it's chaotic because you're sure of what you're doing and the decisions that you're making, and it's going to be the best way to represent the company. So that's kudos to you on
Thank you.
that. So, how do you keep your team motivated when occupancy is low and you've got high turnover? And I think that's a great challenge for all of us in the industry.
And that's happening. I believe that happen in any property. There is no property that I can say they are just flat straight or just reaching, going in this direction. So I will say, first of all, to understand that this is just temporarily.
Hmm.
This is just a temporary challenge. And this actually can bring us to either work as a team, be creative, innovate something that we haven't done before, maybe create challenges or maybe start, challenge each other. Let's get one lease and let's get two leases and create a board. That helps a lot as well. I worked with
Hmm.
boards before. Um, but I think as long as they understand that we are working as a team in this challenge and it's just temporarily, and then just in the long term goal, I think that's what kind of keeps them motivated.
I love that. I love healthy competition. It always goes a great way, and occupancy drops, it gives us time to really come together and put all of us together in a room and really look at that board and kind of draw out and see
Mhm.
what is the plan. And all of us, get our hands on deck and execute the action plan.
Yes.
So great. Great on that. What's your approach to hiring and developing top talent for your on-sites team?
While I'm doing an interview, really what I'm looking for it's attitude. I have seen myself sitting with different candidates and having the most qualified and your in the resume with all this experience, But through the conversation and the interview questions, I see that really this person is not either adaptable or teachable, coachable, and they are not on the position that they are looking to keep serving. And that's something that is very important, because in this industry we actually serve.
Mm-hmm.
We serve to our residents, and we also serve to the client. So we have to produce something. We have to generate something. And if this person is not ready to give something, that means that it's not probably going to be part of what I'm looking in the culture of my team. I'm looking to bring somebody who can be adaptable to the culture of my team. Um, Definitely, I'm looking for attitude. I'm looking for somebody who is approachable, who is coachable, who is going to be fine through challenges. That's very important.
Great tips. Great tips. I love it. How do you coach team members to grow into their next roles? So how do you tend to shape, your next leader? And I think you do a great job just with the keywords that you just used now.
Well, I think definitely I believe that the person needs to be vocal as far as what they're looking for. I have
Mhm.
seen multiple times when I see like so much talent in somebody, and I think you are gonna be a great assistant manager one day. You could be a great manager one day. But if the person is not really pursuing that, either intentionally pursuing or stepping in into the role without being told, then I think it's as a manager in my position, I feel like the door is not open for me to enter. So I just let the person to actually be vocal about it.
That's
I
great.
I believe that leadership it's not a title.
Mhm.
I have always believed that leadership has to be more like an attitude. You have to be ready to serve. You have to be ready to innovate. You have to be ready to support others, to learn by yourself if you need to learn, to ask why,
Yeah,
what we just mentioned it not too long ago. Ask those questions. Talk to your manager.
mhm.
Hey, I'm looking to grow, so your manager can teach you and take you to the next step. That's one of the things that when I'm part of the interview, when I'm interviewing somebody, and when I'm feeling like I'm gonna hire the next team member for my team. I always tell them I'm the type of manager who likes to share everything. I don't hold any information.
Transparency. Mhm.
Correct. I don't hold any information, and I give you all the resources. I give you all the tools if you're looking to keep growing. And that's one of my questions too. Like, are you looking to keep growing?
Right.
It's important for me to know if I'm going to be with a person who is going to be taking a lot of challenges with me, or it's going to be a person who is more rather to stay stable in a position.
Right. And that's great feedback. And to your point, a lot of folks tend to forget that leadership is it's quite a blessing to be in that position, right? Because you're able to understand how you really are this ongoing coach and mentor for others, right? You're setting the example, you're setting that benchmark, and you want to make sure that setting that example, it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. That's not what they're expecting, but they are expecting transparency. They are expecting to be supported. They are expecting for you to bring in the balance when they're disbalanced. And it should work vice versa. So, to your point, I think, leadership, and especially when we talk about, women in leadership, and someone like you, seasoned property manager, a seasoned professional that could talk about, somebody being coached. I think it's amazing because, sometimes women could come to the table and they could say the same thing that at some point a male leader would say. And the male leader may not be perceived as being aggressive, but the woman saying it could be taken as she was being bold and aggressive. But not quite, because if you really look at it, a female leadership, we tend to be, yes, we could be bold and brave, but we could be empathetic. And our communications tend to be empathetic and effective. And it's proven that we have great leadership with high performing teams.
Yes.
So, excuse me, all of the keywords that you just finished saying is exactly what leads to a great leader. So, you're on the right path, paving the right way for your next candidates and your team. So, great job there.
Thank
And,
you.
how would you say you stay in top of the sharp and kind of ahead of the changes in the multifamily space? And we've got changes all the time.
Yes, we have a lot of changes, not only law, but law-wise, but we also have technological. We have now Chat GPT.
Mhm.
We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of things that we need to step on top. Um, I in my case, it's always have to be like reading what's latest updates. So I read a lot from NAA. I read a lot from CIFA. I like to see what's the new latest podcast. That's how I get to see what you're doing too. I think one of the platforms that has been very helpful for a lot of professionals has been LinkedIn, which is LinkedIn. We were just talking about it before we started,
Yep.
how LinkedIn now is taking different directions, and I would like to see more about what everybody is doing in their properties so they can help other properties to grow. Right now we're seeing a lot of posts of how the teams are looking good, how the way that they dressing up, and which is great. It's fabulous. But I would like to know more what this team that portrays being so successful. I would like to know more about it. What are they doing in the daily basis? What are they being so successful about it? What are the latest events that they have done? Things like that.
Yeah, I think taking a deeper dive and, having them really share their experience, right? So if somebody's posting that they just, they opened up this new asset or this new lease up, and they leased up within 12 months, 11 months, give at least some pointers, share with us, 4 ingredients, 3 ingredients that you really found that was just, it just took your whole team to that level, and maybe it's something that you could use in the future. But it's just, I think, to your point, I think it's really important for us to use that platform to really support each other and to
Correct. Yes.
understand and keep each other informed, right, of all the
Yes.
good stuff that's still out there.
And I believe that's one of the great traits about being a good leader, supporting each other, being able to show and portray transparency, what we're just talking about. I think
Yep.
that's a great platform for a lot of people who are using it as much as, we see
Yep.
nowadays.
Absolutely. So what's one leadership value you live by? Talking about leadership.
Yes. I will say one of the main ones, I do have few. I believe one of the main ones is vision. Uh, I believe in portraying the big picture to your team to know exactly where you're going. Everybody has different visions for their property depending on either their experience or depending their maturity, whatever their goals are.
Mm-hmm.
Being the head of the team, you have to bring a vision of what you're looking for the next 6 months, for the next year, and so on. So I think vision for me is very important. I like to have clear expectations for my team, for what I'm looking for, and exactly where are we going. Because I believe that everybody likes to be moving towards somewhere else. When you start feeling stuck,
Yep.
you just don't feel motivated. You just don't feel the
Your
same. And
pause.
sometimes your
Yeah.
past, you just don't feel like where I'm going to work. It really doesn't make no sense. So I think that's part of the reason why I like that trait.
Yeah,
That's very
that's
important.
that's great. That's really great. One of mine, if I could share, it's is consistency. I think that that was definitely something that I always tend to give back my regional managers and property managers. And even, if it was somebody who didn't report directly to me, I thought that it was really important to, try to go out there and help that coworker and find a way to connect, even if it was something that wasn't necessarily within, my business unit. Maybe it was something that had to do, on the safety side or on the legal side or on the accounting side. And I could identify myself with that coworker and how I could play that pivot role for that person, or that person was doing it for me. And I think consistency shows, the foundation of your relationship as trust. And once you've built trust, you've got a good relationship going for a long term, and that long term long-term success, I think
Yes.
it's really important. But visionary, to your point, being a visionary leader is extremely important because it keeps your team on that cycle of motivation, and it's just keep going. And we need that. We need that in this industry because this is a fast-paced industry.
Yes.
And there's a very thin line that people don't want to say it out loud, or they may not feel comfortable saying it. But, most of the time, property managers may feel, and even regional managers, they may feel burnt out, and they
Hmm.
need that, disconnector to hit that reset button, right?
Yes.
And they need that space where they feel comfortable, to be able to talk about that and just,
Correct.
kind of let go and move forward.
Hmm.
So I think that's great. What operational practices do you drive, to continue long-term resident satisfaction? Go a little bit on the residents now.
There are so many, but just for right now for my property, we're actually doing at least 4 events every month. Some people think that's a big challenge to do that many events. But I believe after doing it and having like a system how to do that many events and be able to be successful and keep myself within budget as well.
Very
um,
important.
Very important. I have seen the difference and the pride on my residents, and so I think resident retention is very important. Minimizing expenses, maintaining vacancy low. Those are the things that are very important for for the property. But resident satisfaction. For me, it's events, building a brand, building a community, building a place that not only the residents feel proud of it, but they feel safe as well. They feel like they're coming home, and this is their place for them to be.
I love that.
We are in charge of building that
Yep.
dream idea and make it in reality for our residents. So it's for me, it amazes me every day. It keeps
That's
amazing
great.
me.
Great job. Great job. So, what advice would you give to someone earlier in their career who wants to lead one day and essentially become a property manager or a regional manager? What would be your advice to that candidate today?
Yes, I will tell them to be persistent on the dream that they have, to focus on what they want and work hard towards that. I feel like throughout my career, in a personal level, I one of the traits has been being resilient. In a more leadership level, I will say vision will
Hmm.
be my trait. Um, but I will definitely will tell them to work for it and start acting as before even having the title. Don't wait till somebody asks you to do certain task. When you see the need, just jump for it. Support others, be be attentive to what the needs of the property of your team and stuff like that, and not being shy as far as sharing your idea, sharing the information that you have, even if that's not wrong, even if it's even if you make mistakes, that's okay.
That's
Because
great.
we're learning in this path. I think right now, as a probably as a leasing consultant, assistant manager, property manager, we all make mistakes. So I think it's fine to make mistakes and just learn from it and keep going.
And I'm happy you said that because I think, a lot of folks tend to not be themselves and be afraid, right, of making mistakes and be afraid of failure. But failure is really just a stepping stone to making yourself stronger and really getting back up and saying, well, I tried that. That didn't work. So now can I try this? And this is going to be successful. And then share that knowledge with everybody else around you. And
Yes.
I think that, well said, Sophia, because I really think that that's really important for people to hear that, for people to know how important you are and how valued you are. And, mistakes are okay. Yeah, sometimes, we make bigger mistakes and they're not okay. But for, overall, I think just knowing that we're not perfect, I think it's very important. I think it's important to know that. And, I think that was very well said. So what's next for you in your career? What would you share with us that's next for you? What is Sophia's, vision? What is your vision and what do you want to do? What are you paving towards?
Um, I think I'm gonna open a podcast, and I'm just kidding.
Right on. Hey, we'll all be there.
Just kidding.
I like that.
I'm not as good as you. I'm just kidding.
No, you are. You'd be surprised.
I think that the next step for me will be bringing my leadership, my ideas, and my experience into a larger team. I'm looking to be able to help to build a culture in an organization. I'm looking to see more in the long term goals rather than just execution. That's what I'm looking
So
for.
more strategic. So you want to, kind of step back from the hands-on and see how you could do it more from a strategic point of view. I
Correct.
like that.
Yes.
All right. So you're going to the next level. And we're all here to support that. We all want to see, that going on. And I think just having, more podcasts and more conversations, real conversations, and anything else that you want to share that maybe I haven't asked during this session that you want to share with us or our listeners?
Hmm. I just have a question that
Yeah.
besides, like I love to be in here. This is an amazing opportunity interview. Um, what is one of your pet peeves?
What is one of my pet peeves? So aside from consistency, I think something a little personal that I could start with, and some folks will understand this and some won't. So I started the industry in a very early age, right? It was about summer of 1998, 1999. I was already a property manager. Um, and I think, throughout my journey, I've really faced some true challenges, whether it's been with people or it's been with leaders or it's been with, somebody who's trying to be a corporate influencer and really trying to shut down your light because, for X amount of reasons, that person can't see in the mirror what they have as a top talent. So I think, sometimes, from a personal point of view, I think it's really important for us to have reflection. And I meditate. I tend to meditate. I try to find the good things in, not so good situations. Life it's like a book and you decide what you're going to write in your book. You have to be number one. You have to be the number one character and you really have to, pave your way and make sure that you understand, what your value is. And if you're not valued at that table, then you're not at the right table. It doesn't mean that the people at that table are bad. It just means that maybe you've outgrown that position. Maybe they've outgrown you. So, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, you've got to have organization. You got to have, planning. And although the course of action may not happen as you expect, be prepared for that and find the blessings on the unexpected, you know? Um, that's been my journey as of now. Who would have told me I would have been sitting here with you today, doing this podcast? This is something new, and I really want to connect with multifamily professionals. I really want to talk about these topics and have, professionals and seasoned property managers, leaders like yourself come here and really feel comfortable to be able to share their journey and their real time challenges as well. So, I hope my answer was good enough to your question. It might have been too long, but that was a little
Love
personal
it.
too.
No, thank you for sharing. I know that you have more to share. I,
Yep.
I believe there is a lot in you to share. So I'm very happy that you're doing this, and I'm very proud of you too.
Thank you. Likewise, likewise. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you
I'll
for
make
having
sure
me.
to share this information, share Sophia's information so you can know if you need any advice or, Sophia's always available. She'll always be willing to give
I am
advice.
always available.
She's
That
always,
I do hear that a lot in
you
my
are.
team. They always say like I make time to help others, and that's just so natural in me. I think that comes to the point when you say that you feel that you don't fit in that table anymore, or you outgrown a position. And right now I'm feeling that I do have the platform to be me, to
Yeah,
be able to be me, to be able to help others, to be able to I feel like my team accept that the help that I'm willing to give, like, naturally, that's in me.
I think that's
I love to
amazing.
see other people succeed. I love to see other people getting the knowledge that they need so they can help others as well. That's me.
That's amazing. And that's really essentially, a lot of people, if they were to discover that, it would be such a different world for us out there, especially in this industry. We really need a lot more support. And our on-site teams, they need a lot more support. And I tend to say, it is so important, yes, to have somebody when you're interviewing them, when you're, ready to give them the keys to that asset and have them oversee the day-to-day operations to make sure that they understand how much trust you're putting in them. And going back to what you just finished saying, being yourself in that platform, I think it's the best situation that you have going to your favor right now, because you should be happy with that, moving forward, and knowing that you could be yourself, and your team knowing that they could count on you. I think that that right there is just keeping you on the successful road that you're on.
Thank
So,
you. Yes.
congrats.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, thank you for joining us today and looking forward to the next episode. Thank you.